Well, no doubt we have all had a bad boss, which can have detrimental effects personally and in the work environment. Author of Bad Boss, Michelle Gibbings, joins me to discuss how to deal with this often stressful issue. Michelle, good morning.
Hi, Janie.
Tell us about the book, because what do you do if you work, manage, or are a bad boss? What is a bad boss?
Well, look, there's different types of bad bosses. And when I think about the book and the genesis of the book, yes, part of it came from my own corporate experience, but also my experience in leadership as well. Because, if I put my hand up, when I first started in a leadership role, I would classify myself as a bad boss. I wasn't a bad person, but I didn't know how to lead effectively. And what I find throughout the work that I do now is time and time again, when people come to me seeking advice and support, it's typically because that really important relationship between them and their boss isn't working. Now, there's a big difference between a boss who's just ineffective and a boss who is a narcissist. And so there's different strategies and ways and things that you can do to deal with that.
So you've come up with 4 types of bosses. What are they?
So the first type of boss is the boss who I would call the mercenary. They have very low levels of self-awareness, but they also don't care that they're an ineffective leader because their focus is all on them and all on what they need. You then have someone who, they're often a really lovely person, but they're ineffective in a leadership role. They believe they're doing a good job, but they don't understand the gaps in their leadership and they don't understand the impact that they're having. But perhaps they don't step in where they need to in terms of dealing conflict. They give unclear instructions. The hardest to work with is the illusionist. And that's because they know that they're ineffective. They know where their leadership gaps are. They actually don't care because it's all about them and it's all about what they need. They are very good at managing up. They can charm the pants off you, but they will also very happily throw you under the bus if that's going to serve their purpose. The ultimate boss, the ultimate good boss, is what is called the liberator. Now, this doesn't mean that they're perfect every single day because that's unrealistic. But what it does mean is that they have high levels of self-awareness and they are striving to be a good leader. They are putting the needs of their team first and they are really desiring to bring out not only the best in them, but the best in the people that they work with every single day.
And there's also plenty of research that shows some of the best leaders have high levels of empathy, would you say?
Look, absolutely. The best leaders have high levels of empathy and also high levels of self-awareness. They understand the impact that they're having on others. And they have often what we call that desire to be like a servant leader, where they realise that for them to be a good leader, they put the needs of their team first. And that also means that they lead from the heart. They don't just lead from the head. And what we're seeing now, in the organisation and the corporate world is we're bringing in language like vulnerability, compassion, love that we would never have thought that we would see in the workplace, and kindness, because, particularly in terms of what's going on at the moment, we all need to be a bit kinder to each other.
We certainly do. And I guess we don't have to be right all the time either if we are a boss. I mean, some cultures do have that. How do you change that, rhetoric?
Look, and that's a real challenge. There's really interesting research which shows a correlation between power, so I feel more powerful, and I think I'm right. And if you think about most leaders, with organisational hierarchy, they are in positions of power. The danger is if you feel more powerful, you are more likely to think that your opinion is right. And yet, when we're facing an environment where there's increased complexity and uncertainty, it's impossible for one person to have the licence on being right. And so it's really important for leaders to be open to being challenged and being questioned, but also for senior leaders in the culture that they're creating in their organisation to be comfortable to go, it's okay if we don't know and we don't have all the answers, because part of our role as leaders is to hire people who are in some respects smarter than us to actually help us make really good decisions.
And what are some of the other roles of a boss's boss then?
And so when you think about it through an organisational hierarchy, everybody reports to somebody. And it's very easy for a senior leader to sit back and go, oh, I had no idea that this was going on. That doesn't cut it anymore. If you're a leader, so if you're a leader of a leader, you're the boss's boss, it's your responsibility, it's your accountability to know how effective the leaders in your team are. And if they're not effective, you don't just get rid of them. You coach, you develop, you invest time and energy in helping them be a great leader. Now, if they choose to not change, if they choose to not respond, to being developed and being coached, well, then you take action. But it's really incumbent on senior leaders to go, leadership is a learned skill, and we need to see this as a capability that we want to develop in our organisation.
So we need self-awareness, empathy, and we don't have to be right whether you're a boss or not, I guess.
Exactly, exactly. And what it all means is we've all got room to grow. And I think, if I go through my own sort of leadership experience, I was really fortunate because I worked for a lady and she was an amazing boss, but she really took me aside and sort of helped coach me and helped me see where the gaps were in my leadership. Now, I was lucky because that was early in my career, but it was really pivotal and me helping to understand where my gaps were. And so I'd really encourage leaders out there, be open to the fact that there will be areas where you can improve. It's not a sign of weakness, it's actually a sign of strength.
Yeah, great information, and congratulations on your book, Bad Boss. Michelle Gibbings, take care. Thank you.
Thank you so much.